Hello everyone and welcome to Superfed TV's REL Division 4 and 5 recap video. Typically this is co-hosted with Trunkhead, but my co-host is out currently leading the communist alt-left movement and a revolution on the streets. So I will be taking over the whole cast myself. Thankfully, we're near the end of the season, so it's probably not going to be too much coverage, but I will change up the format just a little bit since it's just me, and try and cover more of the teams rather than just the 2 to 4 that we usually cover. So this video, I'm still going to be shooting for about an hour. We'll see how long it takes. But we still want to make sure you guys get your reliable weekly coverage. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First up in Division 5, this is the Day 11 results. We'll go down the list here. This one I don't believe was a bye. It was not. So Cash Crew Part 2 took the 2-0 win over the Drackwall Day Laborers. Let's see, the human-on-human matchup, which is kind of cool. Don't see that too often. Cash Crew just looks like got all the breaks their way, out blocking the Drackwall Day Laborers quite a bit as well. We know the Day Laborers were a little bit beat up going into this. Cash Crew able to capitalize with some early knockouts probably, and that number advantage kind of went with it. The rushing yards is actually pretty one-sided as well. 0% ball possession, that pretty much says it all there. Even when the Day Laborers were able to pick it up, it looks like they turned it over themselves. So extra injuries, you'll notice here, only 1 injury was inflicted by the humans, but 4 injuries were sustained. So that tells me there was a lot of GFI and dodge fails, and that's why they were able to pick up the ball and run with it, but not necessarily able to possess it at the end of their turn. So looks like a really rough loss there for the Drackwall Day Laborers. Dimension C137 took the concede win over Pandemonium Burgers. I understand there were scheduling issues there. Not too much to talk about, although I guess we could point out SPP wise, nothing special. It doesn't look like there's any levels there. We'll take a look at the teams in a little bit too. Skinky Island Boys won 2-1 over How Now Brown Drow, and this seals the division. This win right here makes it so Skinky Island Boys are 100% going to the playoffs. It's now impossible for Dimension C137 to catch up, even if the Skinky Island Boys lose in Week 13, thanks to the Week 12 bye that the Skinky Island Boys have. And again, we'll take a look at the teams later on. As far as the game itself went, very low number of blocks. Both these coaches were playing the positional game. Knockouts, again, pretty low as well. The armor breaks were actually pretty high for there to only be 2 knockouts and no injuries with 11 armor breaks. That's actually pretty unlucky for the Skinky Island Boys, but they didn't really need it. They kept possession of the ball the whole time. My guess is the Brown Drow scored quickly, and that allowed the 2-1 grind win for Skinky Island Boys. Moving on to the next game. This one was a bye for the Necromantic Newbies. Nurgle FTDs 0-1, or lost 0-1 to Templars of Aurora. Let's see the blocks here. All right, getting a little bit of SPP of injuries there, and they actually kept possession of the ball. They just weren't able to score. We've talked about Templars of Aurora playing excellent positional defense. Nurgle struggle to score when they can't move the ball up the pitch, so I'm not too surprised by that result, being able to be scoreless there. The secret of my success got the bye week over the admin squad, as did the 3 mountains on the Panicky Party. So 4 draws, very few games to be played, and hopefully next week all the coaches are able to play their last games out. I know it gets tough at the end of the season when you're not going to the playoffs. You don't have a whole lot on the line, and you get busy. It's still important to play out your matches, so make sure that you guys put forth every effort to schedule those games and develop your teams. Even if you're not going to be keeping your team next season, you can really, determine the fate of other teams if you don't play your games. So be a good sport about it. Let's take a quick peek at the leaderboard. We already talked about it. Skinky Island Boys have clinched the division. They will be going to the playoffs. And we'll maybe take a look at the playoff seeding and see where they're going to end up and who they're going to be potentially playing against. And they are followed by Dimension C137, who are just behind or just ahead of the Three Mountains. They will play Week 13, so that'll be a nice clash. And the secret of my success, Rusty Sea Butter, is just creeping up right behind them both. So then it starts to even out over the middle of the pack here with the elves and the humans. And the Necro, I'm pleased to say, after they got their bye weeks, I would say that they got their season back on track. They had a very rough start, so we want to give a nod to Yoichi Haruma for his comeback, I would say, this season. Being able to really climb ahead of Dracul Day Labors says a lot. So good to see that on the coach. Let's go ahead and pop through the teams really quick, since we're moving at a decent pace here. Cash Crew Part 2 working the Skeleton Crew. Break Tackle on the Ogre. I believe that's a fairly recent addition. And then they got the Blodge Diving Tackle and the Blodge Guard. I would have liked to see actually Blodge Guard for both these. The Blodge Diving Tackle is more of a long-term play. After you get Stand Firm and Tackle, then the Diving Tackle comes in. So, it could be a good piece. It could be a good piece down the road for sure. That's 2 doubles, actually, so that's why he took the Diving Tackle when he did. I forgot about that till just now, so that's a huge cash investment there, but that's the Wolf Rider build. If he can get the Stand Firm, that'll be huge. And then after Stand Firm, he'll probably want Tackle. So that could be a really key piece next season if he sticks with the team. And I hope JJ Cash does. That piece alone isn't the only good development. He's also got the Agi up on the catcher, which is going to be a great scoring threat at all times. Just needs to get his thrower up and moving. And again, looking at this bank, he still hasn't spent any money. What is he doing? He just won that game 2-0, didn't he? Oh, no. Yeah, 2-0 against the Dracul Day Labors, and then he played The Secret of My Success, and he still didn't spend any of this money. I have no idea what he's doing. He's already got the stadium upgrade. So, JJ Cash, tell me what you're doing, man. All right, moving on. Three Mountains. You've got the piling on his Troll Slayer, which we talked about already. This piece is just a monster. It's a freaking elf. A thick skull AV8 elf. Just crazy. It's basically a high elf blitzer with sure hands and thick skull. Strip Ball is a nice addition there to the Wrestle. So Wrestle Strip Ball, that's great ball hawk. If you do potato down the field against this guy, he's going to catch up to you and make you pay for it. And then just stacking that guard away. Great team going into next season. Didn't make the playoffs. I know he was really shooting for that, and it's good to aim high. Chaos Sabulu is a good coach, and I do look forward to seeing where he takes his team next year. I don't expect him to re-roll at all. The Secret of My Success. The Orc team with the Dream. Still has, a Pro Goblin. That's cool. That allows him to re-roll the toss from the Troll. It also allows him to re-roll catch. If he's doing that one-turn play and he's got a catch from the handoff. The Blodge Agi up is a great scoring threat, which I believe we've already talked about. Movement up on the thrower makes him a lot more viable. You still want to get dodge to make him really a true ball carrier there. So I'm sure he's going to keep this thrower, though, now that he's got the movement up on him. It's a great piece to have. It's basically an extra blitzer, which is good. Blitzer with Frenzy. I'm assuming he's going to go Mighty Blow next, but sometimes they go Stand Firm just to protect themselves from getting counter-surfed. I personally actually hold off on the Stand Firm. I feel like if you're blitzing with the Frenzy piece to surf somebody, you're going to have enough movement to step off a square, or conversely, you're going to have another piece that you can get over there to protect him from getting counter-surfed. So I don't prioritize the Stand Firm on my Frenzy Blitzer. I'd rather make them a good killer with the Mighty Blow and Tackle, or Mighty Blow and Pro. Other stuff, he's got a decent amount of tackle. What we really are lacking here is guard. He's got 2 Mighty Blow block Black Orcs, which this one's actually really close to guard, so that's good. That'll be great. Sad to say his Black Orcs are more developed than mine. And I've got a full season over him, so that's some really good development. And this one's almost a level up too, so he's doing a great job of leveling these. I would be very disappointed if Rusty Seabutter re-rolled next season. Truth be told, his team value is also higher than mine too. I've been taking some licks. Maybe I'll talk about that a little later on. Nerdle FTDs. I know Hylard Salt has not been thrilled about his season. He didn't get many wins. However, his development has not been bad. All of the Nurgle Warriors have at least one level, and this one has 3. That's huge. This piece is going to be just a nightmare for whatever division he's in next season, as long as he stays with the team. And again, I highly encourage him to do that. Rodder, it's disposable. Don't worry about it. And is this just an Agi bust? It is. So this piece is 100% viable. Just needs to get block after he gets his next SPP, and he could get that this season. So if he does get block on this, or even claw, if he wants another true killer out of it, I would hold off on getting your last Pestigore. You're already getting kind of bloaty, and you don't have a single tackle piece. You need to get a tackle piece, and I would actually make this one, this Pestigore, a wrestle tackle piece. But I like the Sure Hands dodge. Very lucky of you to get a double after you put Sure Hands on this one. Make him blodge next, and then I've seen a couple foul appearance ball carrying Pestigores. I kind of like that, but don't put too much emphasis on scoring with this guy. If you ever get a numbers advantage, try to make sure you pass off to your other Pestigores, especially a wrestle tackle one. You really want to get that leveled up as soon as humanly possible, or as soon as nurgly possible. Jumping over the Havoc's henchman, he dropped out. Skip that. Skinky Island boys, the winners of the division. Not a ton of source development. In fact, just not a ton of development overall. I know he had his Sauruses get clipped. So Nox and Virgil were his best Sauruses. And losing those really does suck. He's going to have a very tough battle in the playoffs, but he does have the Bloxagore and one Mighty Blow piece to blitz with, and he's about to level again, so he'll get blocked next, I assume. You don't really make a good true killing Saurus with piling on or any of that garbage. And you've already got one tackle, so I would definitely go block for Bruiser. Save your rerolls. Scorn the second has picked up block, so he's got a Blodge Skink. That's always a great ball carrier. And then he's got potentially a good one-turn threat. 11 SPP off from getting Sprint, I would take over Sure Feet. And then Sure Feet after that. And then Catch. Usually, I mean, we talked about this. Trunkhead would prefer you get Catch next. I want Sprint for that one less block. It just becomes a lot more reliable. And I have a one-turning Skink, so I know from experience. Dimension C137. Just missing the playoffs by a hair. And that was the week 1 match, which, week 1 undead teams against lizard teams, that's a tough one to win when you don't have the tackle to take out skinks reliably. And the Saurus just can flat out outmuscle you as long as your mummies aren't removing things. Brutal team right here. He's got 3 Mighty Blow just right off the top, one of them with piling on. The Agi up guard tackle blitzer is an awesome piece. Can go just about wherever he wants, so we can use that as a safety. Speaking of safeties, Summer has got wrestle, and I'm assuming he's getting tackled next. Catch on the Ghoul is a bit weird. I would watch that piece very closely. I'm assuming that that's not the regular ball carrier. I'm assuming that Beth is going to be kind of down the field for handoff plays if he needs fast scores or shenanigans. I would watch that piece if I'm playing against them. Squanchy is the Ghoul he just picked up, looks like. And then Mr. Poopy Butthole needs to get fired. I was okay with you having a zombie with 2 skills, but 3 skills. It's 100,000 gold for one crappy zombie. Fire them. Unless there's some reason that you're not needing that, but I would fire them. You've got 13 players as well. You don't need that many at this point. Fire them. Dracwell Day Laborers. So this is the human team that's actually got all the pieces, but they still somehow lost to the other human team. The killer here at AV7, we picked on him. I think at this point, honestly, it's time to fire him, even though, I mean, because you're got to start thinking at next season at this point, and I would think I would probably fire him, although you're still at the cash issue, so that's probably why you haven't. And now that you're missing this blitzer, just a miss next game, so that's not a big deal. Maybe after you get him back, if you get enough cash, fire him and pick up another one. Start training your next killer up. Otherwise, though, the team's developing great. You've got the block ogre, which is super reliable, kind of offsets the reliance on this killer. You've got tackle on your ball carrier. Strength up on the wrestle catcher is huge. That is just a great ball hawk. Strip ball probably next, or tackle, either works. But that's definitely a piece that you don't need to neglect the ball on. Sure, you want to get blodge on Billy, but I would personally keep feeding the ball to Sid. Pandemonium Burgers, Chaos Team, getting Chaos levels. Couple Mighty Blow, couple Claw. Not enough block, and frankly, not enough guard. Stat ups on Chaos early on, I personally skip. The Agi is good, and I would take a Strength. I don't like the movement, frankly. It really delays your... I mean, this guy's going to be your ball carrier, right? So this movement is unnecessary in my opinion. Maybe you're going to go Frenzy next, but again, that's really just delaying your development of your team. And frankly, these guys all need guard. Your AV7 piece is going to need to get fired and recycled. You've got the money for it. Go ahead and do it. Do not get a Minotaur if that's what you're saving up for. At least that's my recommendation. All this is my recommendation. Take it with a grain of salt. How now, Brown Drow? 2 Agi 5s, still alive and ticking. And actually, looks like the injuries that you suffered, you got rid of. So looks like, I believe you had a witch that was armor busted or it nickled, and they either died or got fired. So you're saving up probably to replace that witch, would be my guess, or the other blitzer. Regardless, doesn't matter. Your team looks freaking amazing, even without all the pieces and all the positionals. Strength up on the runners, cool. I don't think you see that very often. They are AV7, but I would say, yeah, that's somebody that you can keep scoring with. Although you definitely need to get wrestler block on your witch elf as soon as possible. So that should still be your first scoring priority. And then your Agi 5 leap can also one touchdown away. Man, so many good things. Even getting block or dodge on your guard piece. Too many good options for you. Too many good options. Definitely hope you stick with this team next season. I know Phaedrus re-rolled last season after making it to the playoffs. So if you re-roll again, I would be disappointed with you for the amount of stat ups that you have. You should stick with it. It's a dream team right here in the making. And Dark Elves only get better as time goes by. And you were in the competition the whole way through. So next season, you would be terrifying. And let's see, we've got 2 more teams left. So the Necromantic Newbies, rather. Got a 2nd level on their Werewolf. That's huge. Hopefully it's a double. Get that Mighty Blow. If not, Blodge is good. Not a lot of other development, but the Blodge Flesh Golem is awesome. It's a great piece to have. Sure, it slows down your development, but and next you want to get guard. But I tell you, Blodge Flesh Golems can do amazing wonders for stopping an enemy offense. We saw that last playoff with Hidden Dejection, which was on Fiction's team, and hindered dejection, one of those, some kind of variation of that. He basically single-handedly stopped a top-rated orc team. So yeah, great piece. And last but not least, Templars of Aurora, my favorite team in this division. Even though they're not going to the playoffs, got great development. Again, 2 Agi 5s on these elf teams. Both elf teams in this division got Agi 5. This one, though, just seems to get all the guard he wants on his lineman. And the movement up on the catcher for a great one-turn threat. I haven't heard that he's scored a one-turn touchdown yet, but I'm sure he's capable of figuring out how to do that with a movement 9 piece. So I do hope that he develops him that way. And the Agi up blitzer, he needs to get leap. Not that he's going to just leap in there all the time. He doesn't even really need to. But leap is good. Leap is good. I would actually probably do leap on this one after I get wrestle. And maybe not leap on this one. Maybe something else. I will say this, though. One thing that you were missing is a super important skill if you start playing a bunch of other elves or the new stunty teams. You just don't have enough tackle. I would maybe even get tackle first before dodge on your blitzer here. And then your wrestle pieces need to get tackle as well. So keep an eye on that. I do like that you've got the 2 throwers. I think too often high elf teams rely only on 1 thrower. And since you've got the sure hand blodge thrower, this one should be your offensive accurate dump off. Would be my personal choice there. Accurate dump off. That way you don't have to worry about the defensive skills. All right, that's it for Division 5. Looking at this week, matches to watch out for. Nurgle or due. I'd be careful, Three Mountains. The Nurgle team has Claw and Mighty Blow. It's very possible that Three Mountains could get a little beat up going into Week 13 when they play the Undead team. Conversely, the Undead team has the High Elves. So the High Elves could take a licking on their way out. Skeeka Island Boys gets the bye. And Necronomic Newbies get a chance to take on the Dracwall Day Laborers, who seem to be spiraling. So both these teams are at the lower end, but they're headed in different trajectories. We'll see if the humans are able to stop the bleeding, or if the Necronomic Newbies can continue their resurgence and keep getting some development. If I'm going to make some predictions, since that's the only other thing that Trunkhead and I did that I have not done yet, I'm going to predict the Necronomic Newbies win this one. And Hound Brown Drow is going to beat Pandemonium Burgers. And this one's too close to call, honestly. I'm going to go 1-1 draw on Templars of Aurora and Dimension C137. And Three Mountains win, but they're going to lose somebody. Those are my bold predictions for Week 12. All right, let's go on to Division 4. This one is very much up in the air as far as the leaderboard goes. We'll start with the leaderboard. And in fact, there's a new name at the top of this list at this moment, simply because he hasn't played a game yet. So if for some reason Ace Trucking were to lose, the Orc team has the tiebreaker, I believe. And that would be probably enough to knock Quicks out. Although there is still another week to be played. But that's quite the tight race there. So going into Week 11, let's see what happened. Unaccompanied Minos drawed. Squiggy is back. And Squiggy is looking to make up some lost ground. Unaccompanied Minos only able to tie here. Stat-wise, 21 block or 24 blocks, but 4 injuries inflicted out of those 24 blocks. I would call that one unlucky for the Chaos Dwarves, although they seem to inflict some damage on their own. Just a ton of SBP around. I suppose the Wood Elves are probably focusing Hobgoblins, which is entirely a valid strategy, especially if you're trying to get those injuries. So that's probably what I would assume had happened here. 1 death for the Wood Elves, and it wasn't on a loner, so we'll take a look at that. Let's see, back to Week 11. K&G 2-0'd Carnival Freak Show. That was a bye because he dropped out. Communist Frat Party. Was that a draw as well? No, it wasn't. Okay. Horrible Cliches. The Horrible Cliches. The Dark Elf team just 2-0'd the Griff wielding team. And Griff stole the MVP. What a bastard. pretty close matches stat-wise. More blocks for the humans, more removals as well, and they still couldn't score a single touchdown. So that tells me that the Dark Elves were scoring fast, playing a lot of good defense, which is kind of the Dark Elves thing. They're just particularly good at defense in general, but we'll take a look at that team and see how they're doing. Iron Madden 2-0 over Typos Happen. That's a big deal. It's quite a big deal. That was a playoff contending team. Looks like the armor breaks and the blocks went the way of Iron Madden, and they just were able to keep the ball and drive it down the pitch. Curious how they stole the ball. If there was a blitz involved or if it was just numbers by the end of it all. Any deaths? No deaths. Only 12 armor breaks. 2 expulsions. That says a lot. A lot of fouling, I'm sure. But I'm curious to see if any permanent damage was suffered or anything like that. Pass play, too. Interesting. Baywatch Knights drawed against Ace Trucking Company. And this did keep the division close. Had Ace Trucking won here, they would have basically been able to extend their lead to the point where it becomes more likely than not that they win the playoff spot. However, since this played out this way, it in fact did not guarantee, and now it's really tight, really tight. 12 armor breaks to 5, statistically speaking. Ton of blocks for the Chaos Dwarves against the Bretonnian team. However, the injuries didn't look like it was enough to really win the game for them. My guess is they probably came later on in the match. Good development, though. Expecting to see a couple new levels this week. Lizard Beast 2-0 over the Unlucky Skull. Very close on the armor breaks. Personally, I think the Lizards should do pretty well against Khemri. So this one doesn't surprise me matchup-wise. I just think the Skinks are a huge advantage over the Khemri team in general, just because they've got huge movement. They've got dodge, so you're really relying on blocking them down or tackling them. And Unlucky Skull just couldn't even seem to get to the ball. Because you've got Stunty, you can just run between the Tomb Guardians, too, to go to their backfield. So it's a matchup I don't have experience with, but I just imagine it being a real nightmare for Khemri. Resistance is Feudal, 2-0 over Gambit Gets. That's, of course, a bye. Gamba's dropped out. So let's go ahead and peek at the leaderboard before we go into the teams again. I started with the leaderboard, didn't I? Yeah. That's right. So Typos Happen, even though they lost last week, they're still in it. Popping through the teams, Resistance is Feudal. They've got level ups that they did not take. It's on a peasant, so nobody gives a shit. It's going to be Dirty Player, unless it's Bloat. I guess you can take Guard. You don't have any Guard on your team. You should probably take Guard if it's double. But otherwise, it's Bloat or Dirty Player. You do need Guard. I don't know why. No, I do know why. You wrestle tackle, which makes sense. And then strength up. So, all that makes sense. Of course, countless opportunities. He is still niggled, but still 4 strength and blodge and your hands and your main ball carrier. Doing good stuff. Getting shiggy with it. I would expect you to maintain this team next season, although, to be honest, 2 strength ups on a Brett team is maybe not enough to keep you around on the team. All of the rest of your development is pretty much non-existent. So, unless you like playing with inducements, I wouldn't hold it against you if you decide to reroll. Gambas Gets, he'll probably be back next season. He'll probably drop out again next season. I know he's not super interested in Blood Bowl at this time, so we'll see what he ends up doing. Lizard Beasts, I expect you completely to get promoted next season if you stick around. I personally look forward to playing against you again. I think you kind of got robbed when it comes to getting promoted to REL Div 3 like the rest of Div 6. The fact that all 5 of us made it in and you didn't, it's kind of a bummer, because you were definitely a good coach to play against, and I enjoyed all of our games. Look forward to playing with you again. Development-wise, Niggled Skink you're never going to get rid of because it's IG4. It'll die on its own in time. And until it does, just keep playing it. This movement up one's awesome. Feed him the ball. It looks like you're doing the right stuff. You got movement, you got sprint. I'm assuming sure feet's next, and then catch and sidestep. Some of those skills you can change the order around as you see fit, but that would be the way I would do it. You know, this guy has spent more time on the sideline this season. He's niggled. I think it's time to let him go. He's got 3 skills, so he's definitely done his job for you, but he didn't roll a double. I personally, you've got the cash. I'm telling you, even though he's killed a tree, I think King Croc's time has come to an end. That niggle is only going to do bad things for you. It's a big bullseye on your big target, and I strongly urge you to give him the boot. But I do want you to keep your team for next season. Unlucky Skull. King of the Cosmos. I believe I heard a rumor that he was re-rolling. But as far as Khemri teams go, he's had some good developments. He's got both of his throwers have a couple levels, or a level at least. Blitz raw wise, is this anything serious? Niggle. Ooh. Alright, that's a dead blitzer. Can't replace him yet, so we'll see what happens next week. And then the Mighty Blow Frenzy, which we talked about. A couple guard pieces. Not a ton of development on the Tomb Guardians. I think we talked also about how second season is probably the Khemri strongest. But beyond that, it would be all downhill. So if you want to keep this Khemri dream alive, you certainly could play it next season. But I don't think anyone will fault you if you re-roll. Khemri suck. Ace Trucking Company. This team I do expect to be around, even though their development is all in the blockers. That's not necessarily a bad thing, especially since you've got the reliable ball carrier and your Hobgoblin Ace. Secretariat going down, having to get replaced. That sucks. Very expensive piece, but at the same time, you're going into the off season with a lot of guard and a lot of Mighty Blow, including a Claw Mighty Blow. I just don't understand the tail. I don't know why you didn't get Claw. That's the only thing that makes me think that you are not planning on returning with this team. But you've had a phenomenal season. I wish you all the best in the playoffs because I believe you are going to go there. Moving on again to Iron Madden. This is the Khemri team that's got all the development and the Khemri coach who honestly is the perfect fit for the Khemri team. 3 dirty players, including 1 sneaky get dirty player. What a combo. Rerolls right where they need to be, although he's got a leader, so he could probably drop one because those are expensive rerolls. Does make your team a little bloaty, so you could actually drop down quite a bit of TV. I would recommend that. He does have 1 niggled Tomb Guardian, but the rest of them are, well, all of them I would say are in frankly great shape. Stand firm, guard mighty blow, the dream. The dream. No doubles, unfortunately, but you've got a strength 4 piling on Blitz Raw. That's awesome. Not a ton of development on your actual throw raws, but that's because we all know you somehow managed to pick up the ball on your Tomb Guardians consistently. And that's why these are so developed. Of all of the Khemri coaches, well, of all of the Khemri players, take that back, well, all of the Khemri that I've seen, I know Palmu is probably going to stick with his, but you are just truly, Gengar, the embodiment of a Khemri coach, and I hope you stick with this team for next season. I hope I am not in your division next season. God. 6 Mighty Blow, 3 dirty players, and a piling on. Yeah. Your team value is higher than mine, so who knows? Maybe we do end up in the same division. I just don't want that to happen. Don't put that on me. Cash Crew Part 2. Beaten, battered, bruised. Wait, what? Didn't I just look at this team? How did I end up here? Are they in both divisions? I'm so confused right now. We totally just looked at this team. That's right, they moved. I don't know what's going on. This is a bug. But they are not actively competing in this division. So let's go ahead and skip that. Communist Frat Party, they dropped out. Or no, they didn't. Nocturnal, that's right. Dodge on Thrower. It's going to be good long term. He's about to get blodged, and he's going to be a nice, reliable piece. Like that. Like the Wrestle Catcher for that ball sacking threat. Get him tackle next or strip ball, depending on your choice. Good killer piece in action. I like the guard. Stand firm. Hopefully get a dodge. Make him even more useful at his job. I would say tackle next if you don't get the double. You could get a second Mighty Blow, but then obviously probably guard here, just like that one. Guard on the Ogre, decent development. And then a wrestle and a kick lineman. I'm okay with that. But frankly, you are lacking dirty players. And if you're not fouling on a human team with those super cheap linemen, you're not doing it right. I'm fine with the kick first, but then this should have been dirty player. I'm fine with the wrestle first, but then this should have been dirty player. Neither one of these skills, in my opinion, is more valuable than dirty player for your team. So I would get on that. And you can always pick up another player. You've got the extra money for it. Maybe another catcher. I think it's probably time to pick up another catcher. Team value wise, you're not that high. I would probably do that. K&G, the third or second. Second Chaos Door team we're looking at so far. The third is coming up. This is the one that has all the development on the Bull Centaurs. Great development. Everything that you want, including that movement. Talked about that at length already. The Frenzy one, personally, I would go Mighty Blow before I'd go Frenzy. I hope he goes Mighty Blow next. That's a good combo. Although, he's got a ton of Mighty Blow in other places. And he needs some guard, at a minimum 3. But this piece is it's just leveled up, so he could get guard next. I would not get more piling on. 1 piling on max. These are super slow to move, and once you pile on with them, they're not going anywhere. So it becomes a one-way trip. If you get jump up, it becomes a little bit better, but still not great. If you got a double, then of course you're going to get claw, but otherwise, guard. Need more guard. And then you've got a ton of money. You need to replace your hobgoblins. I don't understand these coaches saving up all this money. It's not like there's Chaos Dwarves in the free agency that you can pick up. There's not. I looked. Spend that money. Squiggy, back with the Rebel Invasion. Great freaking war dancer. Agi 5, strip ball, 9 movement. Yacindy the Dream. Foul this guy into oblivion. Pearl Saber. Looks like he took an injury in the last game. Just a miss next game, nothing bad. And I'm guessing you lost your thrower with that death. And your guard piece is also going to be out for next game. These miss next games are actually a big deal because I believe, if I am correct, and I'll double check this at the end, you're going to be up against Quicks. And so you're going to have a lot of loners, which is nice meat to feed the grinder. But not having that guard and not having that catcher are going to have some implications and impact on the game. So I'm curious to see if your tree goes down, that would be even worse too. But I'm not as confident in Squiggy's ability to take down Quicks after seeing his team in that shape. Unaccompanied Minos are the ones that just put the licking onto Squiggy, even though it was a 1-1 draw. They did their damage, and Quicks owes them a favor. Excellent Bull Centaurs. This is super balanced development compared to the other two. One's heavy Bull Centaur, one's heavy blocker. This one's nice balanced development on the blockers. He's got his claw, he's got his mighty blow, he's got plenty of guard, which are also about to get mighty blow. He's got the break tackle, mighty blow, Bull Centaur, and then the sure hands blodge Bull Centaur. Just needs that break tackle, but frankly, he can push somebody else off, do those change push plays. would be very jealous, or I am very jealous of this team. I would consider myself lucky to have it. And no real bloat anywhere, honestly. Not a single bit of bloat at all. This is an awesome team, Dat Monkey. I really hope you stick with it for next season. One of these Chaos Dwarf teams is going to do something. Maybe not this season, but next season for sure. Splash in the playoffs, maybe a deep run. I think Chaos Dwarves are a uniquely positioned team in that they are good at pretty much every TV value. And honestly, even at high TV, they can be disgusting when they start getting their mutations on their blockers. And keeping those hobos trim. The only thing that they could suffer from is a bit like Lizardmen, where their positionals are super critical. And if they take too many losses there, or the Bull Centaurs especially, that can really put them behind. And is that the last one? No. We have three more teams. Horrible Cliches are the Dark Elf team that was in the playoff contention. I believe they're still in the picture. It would just require losses from both Quicks and the Orc team that we're about to cover next. Great Witch Elf development. This is the perfect Witch Elf right there. Block, Mighty Blow, Tackle. And this is a great threat on the ball with Sidestep and Diving Tackle as well. I hope you get Tackle next. Diving Tackle is good on its own, but Diving Tackle is great with Tackle. It forces them to blow their reroll, and there's no guarantee that they get out of it. So I always want to get... I usually personally get Tackle first if I don't have a bunch of it, and then I'll get Diving Tackle after, but I'm okay in this position with you doing that. You just, play around it, play wisely. Hopefully get it next. And Monkey Man's a good coach, so I know you know what I'm telling you. You got Strip Ball, Blodge, great piece. Love the Strip Ball threat. Kind of wish I was playing a Strip Ball threat team this season, but I'm playing Orcs. Strip Ball's just not that good on Orcs. Got a nice kicker with block. Good development otherwise. Skill-wise. Oh, wow, you've even organized them by SPP. Very nice. Nothing jumps out at me as an immediate scoring thing. Probably Try Me. It's going to be who you want to score with next. Everything else is quite a ways out. Maybe getting some Blodge linemen here. Tybo Sappin, Cake and Grad, the other team in playoff contention. If both Typos happen and Quicks lose, that's where we'll see the Dark Elf. If Quicks loses and the Dark Elf doesn't, Typos happen could get in because they've got the tiebreaker over Quicks. And if everything just goes a status quo, Quicks will have that spot. Decent development on the Black Orc. The secret of my success, actually, in the lower division has far better Black Orc development. But the blitzers on Cake and Grad's team are phenomenal. Again, with the Blodge diving tackle. Blodge strength up is huge as well. And your killer piece here with the agility bust, not a big deal. I would still take jump up if you do get a double, but if not, just get pro. And Jack and Kill Childcare. Guard, Mighty Blow. I'd say you need more tackle. And the other thing that you're still really lacking is Sure Hands, which I'm assuming You're Worth It was going to get, but then he got the strength up, so obviously you're going to take the strength up. Just make sure you get Sure Hands as soon as possible, and I'd say to level him up over everything else, including your Black Orcs. Strip Ball is going to do damage to you at some point if you don't respect it. And that's it for... Oh, no, one more. Almost forgot. Baywatch Knights, Ravenpoe. I 100% believe he is re-rolling. Believe he's going to be doing a stunty team as well. So I really look forward to seeing what he does next season. As we talked about with the other Brett team, one strength up Brett is really not all that great for the entire team development. Sure, you got Blodge, Tackle, and you got a couple guard pieces, but the Griff team-induced experiment, I think we'd call it a mediocre success. It's really good at lower team values, as we know. As soon as teams start getting tackle, or as soon as you go up against the Legion of Chaos Dwarves, it's not as good. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. not too much to say about Ravenpoach's team. Like I said, I really want to see what he does next season. So that is just about going to wrap up this recap video. Again, we'll take one last look at the playoff leaderboard situation here. Horrible Cliches has the... Well, let's look at the schedule, actually. It's probably going to tell me more. Horrible Cliches lost to Typos Happen. So, Horrible Cliches only has one game left, and that's a bye. So that's going to put them up to 7-4-2. So if Typos Happen loses or ties, they could get skipped by Monkey Man. However, if Ace Trucking Company, which they also play Squiggy this week, and then next week, what do they do? Unaccompanied Minos. So there's potential for them to lose twice as well. Like I said, that's going to allow Horrible Cliches to piggyback up. Or, conversely, Typos Happen can also jump ahead. Really, it's going to come down to these three teams. I don't think there's any way the other teams can get in there. Because 2 more wins would be 7-3. And he's got the guaranteed bye week. So it's going to be 7-4-2 is going to be the minimum. Yeah, there's no way for Ravenpo to get in there. Decent record, though, for Ravenpo, 5-3-3, like we talked about. So, these are your final 3. Which one of them it's going to be, tough to say. My money's still on Quicks. We know Trunkhead's pick was Monkey Man, and there's a decent shot of that happening. It just got a lot harder after he lost to... Cake and Grad. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I know you might get tired of my voice for an hour. I don't blame you. But actually, coming in pretty quick. 47 minutes, roughly. Okay, that's not bad. Somehow I covered all the teams in less time than it takes Trunkhead and I, but none of the extra banter. So since we do have a little extra time, we've been peeking back and forth at my team as we've kind of gone through this, and I was as high as 1980 team value at one point this season, and I have dropped all the way down to 1450. And that's after I picked up this blitzer, so I was actually down to 1380 at the end of the game today. Another draw for me and another death. I lost my troll, who was a level 3 troll. So quite a lot of team value disappeared today. And we're still rebuilding. I'm technically not knocked out of the playoff picture. I've got a chance. I would need people above me to lose, and I need to win my last game. Frankly, looking at my team, when I see this team, I see 2 pieces that are going to get focused and killed if I make it into the playoffs, and then the rest of my team pretty much sucks. So I'm really not that excited about the opportunity to play playoffs against Chaos and Dwarves that have, 6 Mighty Blow apiece. This point, I'm thinking either I reroll, or if I can get something special on my 2 pieces here, I might keep the team, but it's up in the air. It's up in the air. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I believe at this point I'm probably going to be doing the recap videos for the rest of the season on my own, but I will, of course, let you guys know if that changes. And again, it'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday, as we have been doing for the past couple weeks. Yeah. Any questions, shoot me up on Discord. But thanks for watching. Have a good day.